Hello, everyone. I'm Gad Levy Golan, and today's class will deal with movement of the stored energy from the body to the brain. Stored energy from the body to the brain. It's by Dr. Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural. And he's writing something very relevant for us. He says, when we release energy from the three energy centers to the brain, how do we do it? As an inductance field, energy field, electromagnetic energy field is created by the acceleration of cerebrospinal fluid up the spine. cerebrospinal fluid up the spine, in Hebrew, נוזל חוט שדרה שעולה לאורך חוט השדרה, נוזל מוחי. It will draw the stored energy in the first three centers back to the brain. Once there is a current flowing from the base of the spine all the way to the brain, the body becomes like a magnet and an electromagnetic torus field is created. I'll explain it simply in Hebrew and then we'll get straight to the practice. So for those who just joined, I'm repeating. We are practicing something that Dr. Joe Dispenza in his book, Becoming Supernatural, saying is how do we enhance electromagnetic energy fields in our brain by moving cerebrospinal fluid up the spinal cord. How do we do it? Leave it up to me. That will be the topic of today's lesson. All right? Let's begin. Before we get to all the deep and accurate, let's just loosen up. So we come to this practice with a very relaxed mind and body. Relaxed mind and body. Cha, 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 cha. And from this action, just let the hands, let the arms go with gravity. Simple as that. Keep an eye contact with your fingertips, touching the heavens. Cha, 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 cha. Slow down. And 1 foot forward, back foot 45 degrees. Aim with your middle finger and change. Shoo, 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 shoo. And change directions. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's embrace the sky and sink down. Embrace the sky. Letting go. One more time. Deep inhalation. Great. So, ankles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Empty foot. 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Feet together. Slide. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hip joints. Yeah. So let's verbalize on what's this cerebrospinal fluid and how do we push it up our spine from the lower back to the brain. What is the cerebrospinal fluid made of? Well, proteins and salts that when they dissolve, they become charged molecule. And when we are able to push a substantial amount of those charged molecules from our lower back to our brain, we are enlarging the electromagnetic energy fields in our brain. Well, sounds rather deep, and the techniques are very simple. Let's get straight to it. Even before we do shoulder warm-up, elbows, we're dealing with the dantian, the energy centers, the dantian, the lower dantian, from the pelvic floor to the diaphragm. And in that area, we have a pedal like when you sit on the boat. The pedal is the tailbone. Once we take the Ming Meng backward, this energy center at the lower back, backward and forward, backward and forward, and we do it together with the breath, synchronized breath. When we go backward, we inhale till we feel that our head, our skull is full of air. What does it mean? It doesn't, well, the skull doesn't get air. We do get oxygen through the blood flow. But when we do that, we have all those stitches that put together our brain. And what we do is when we breathe in, as we take the tailbone backward, we feel them expanding. And when we exhale and let go and let our tailbone come forward, we contract and our head relaxes. Your skull relaxes. So don't close your eyes, but dim them. Dim your eyes like as if you have a dimmer, and you make them slightly look forward 45 degrees down there. We can do it here with a stance. And take the air out of your lungs. Pause. Inhale and take your tailbone backward. Till you feel it above your ears. And again. Look at it in the profile, just because you couldn't see what I'm doing with my tailbone over there. I empty my lungs. Pause, inhale. Okay, so that's a mechanical movement that is rather easy to move in and out of our pelvic pelvis, pelvic floor, hip joints, a little bit like lovemaking for us men. But if you want to enhance that process and deliver more, because we said the more molecules will go up, the bigger, the larger the electromagnetic field, what do? It relates to the last two lessons that we actually dealt with. What are the key points of this lower dantian? And we said the first one is the perineum. When we stand straight and start to inhale, lift up your perineum like a vacuum. Vacuum it all the way up here, all right? And then you start to feel something going along you. Something travels along your spinal cord until it fills up your brain, all right? Slowly, easy does it. Lift your perineum, tighten it and lift it up. Drop your pelvic floor. Starting to breathe to our lower dantian. So the perineum and the pelvic floor becomes, together with the tailbone going back and forward, together with the breath in, becomes all enhancers, pushing the energy up our spinal cord all the way up to our brain, okay? We'll go back to that practice, but let's go back to loosening up and go back to a few movements from our routine so we can get back to this very, very special material, okay? We'll start with lying place with a ball. We need to warm up our shoulders, right? That's a great shoulder lubricator. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, pump, pump, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, pump, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, pump, pump, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. The wave. The wave gives us a great opportunity to work with the pelvic floor. And here, as the hands stop pushing the water and start to rise, I'm starting the inhale and lifting my pelvic floor and perineum up. Therefore, repeating that movement that we mentioned before, and it has to do with what we always mention as expand and contract. Expand contract. We can insert this practice, this very deep internal activity, through other movements like white crane. Every time there's an up and down energy, we relate not just to the external, first the outside, then the inside. So the outside for this instance is the elbows, that one elbow up, one elbow down. We want to synchronize it with our breath. So pause and inhale. Pause and exhale. Pause, inhale. Pause, exhale. And now as you inhale, lift your pelvic floor and perineum, suck them up. Wow. There's a point that you can hear with your hearing. I heard it next to my eardrum. You hear activity. Deep inhalation. One last one. Fantastic. Okay, loosen up so we can be more relaxed with each movement. We want to be more and more soft and relaxed. So our mind, in mindfulness, will be able to track down what's going on deep within, internal energy, Neigong. Okay, let's move in this vertical circle, vertical energy pattern. And within that pattern, start to play with the expand and contract, synchronize. Pause. As I go up, I take my tailbone backward, deep inhalation. Lift your perineum up to here, and let go. Now, in the book, Dr. Joe Dispenza says it's not just the lower back, it's all three energy centers. So we said the key points for the bottom, the lower dantian, is the perineum and pelvic floor. But how does it relate to the middle dantian? How does it relate to the sternum? Well, because on the way up, the tailbone goes backward while I inhale. Naturally, my sternum went up because the lungs are full. The pelvic floor is up. My skull is expanded. That's what it feels like. On the way down, I talk to my middle dantian and I say, sink and relax. The moment we relax the sternum, all intercostal muscles relax with it. It's like this is the commander. This is Simon said. Or for the rib cage is the sternum. So we focus on this on the way down. On the way up, we said tailbone backward, perineum up, deep inhalation. Pause, exhale, melt down your sternum. And not just melt down your sternum. This is for the middle dantian, the lower dantian. Tailbone in, tailbone out. Inhale. Tailbone in. Sternum relaxes. Yes, you recognize this is from the Bad One Gene, 8 pieces of brocade. We're doing the cooling wings on the bamboo. And this is a perfect exercise for lifting up through the spinal cord, the cerebrospinal fluid from the lower back to the brain. Just synchronize. As we said before. I haven't mentioned, close your teeth, don't clench them, close your teeth. Sifugong used to say you connect the bone by, if this is the jaw, close your jaw, teeth on teeth, and place the tongue at the roof of your mouth. That's the connection of blood. They used to call it connection of meat and blood, connection of bone in the teeth and tongue, okay? We go deeper now, we go deeper. We said electromagnetic fields. Maybe at the end of the lesson, we'll be able to feel some difference, Maybe now, depends on your high-level concentration. And tailbone backward. Letting go. I'm going to do a quick pause and read you what are the benefits of this exercise and what we're trying to achieve besides lifting up the cerebrospinal fluid. It's in my book, Cooling Wings on the Bamboo. Let's take the key to chi and open at Cooling Wings on the Bamboo. Ready? Let's just see the objectives, not the whole article, because he'll take the class itself, the entire class. Here, Cooling Wings on the Bamboo, page 152. Objectives: to recover and cool down the body, to meditate and relax whilst moving slowly to the rhythm of the breeze. So we want to imagine breeze, wind in our wings, to cultivate inner peace, and to challenge and train your balance. And if I talk about the inner landscape, because here I explained the motion and the starting positions, but we go straight to the end of it. The inner landscape of Cooling Wings: derive your vitality from the infinite source. And I've written this before, way before I read the Joe Dispenza explanation about the cerebrospinal fluid, but this actually communicates with it. Derive your vitality from the infinite source, your lower dantian, the well deep within you, your inner master. Oh goodness, I haven't read it, I think, in years, but look, it's exactly what we're talking about. Support it with strength and motivation in areas of your life where vitality is needed. Okay, so those electromagnetic fields we're enlarging shouldn't just be felt now during the class, but we want to see how they relate to how they support with strength and motivation areas in our life where vitality is needed. Enough with that, huh? Let's practice. Ah, good stuff, huh? From the beginning. Cha, 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 pum, pum, cha, 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 pum, pum, cha, 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 pum, pum, cha, cha, cha. Let's bounce our heels so we shake the skeleton, shake the skeleton, shake the skeleton, shake. Shake the skeleton, shake the skeleton, shake the skeleton, shake. And direct it, down and up, down and up, down and up, down. Forward, back, faster. Cha, 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 cha. Pa, 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 pa. Cha, 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 cha. And up. One, 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 one. One, 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 one. One, 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 one. Let the energy come from your feet, from earth to heaven, through your body. You are a connector. Cha, ah, 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 ah. Feet together and swing. Cha. Let gravity operate within you in a regulated manner. Well, now we just let the gravity take our arms and we try and do nothing. Later, when we do wake up the dragon, or every time we sink down slowly, it's controlled gravity. We are regulating the speed of gravity within our body. It's by our mind, by our intention, kavanah. Let's do the job with the fingers open and close. Clench your fist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cha, 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 and cha, 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 and 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Clench, shoot. We did more with the other hand. Let's do a bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. Fingers together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and change. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It said on the list that one of the good things about cooling wings is the balance. Let's work on our balance. Balance and self-confidence, as we know, going hand in hand, well, leg by leg. We have more confidence in our life when we have good balance. It's felt mostly, we don't tend to think about it, oh, I have balance, I'm self-confident. It shows in the opposite direction. When we lose our balance, because we fall, we're slipping on a banana peel, we laugh and we feel silly because we lost it. When we have to hold a cane and walk with a cane or sit in a wheelchair, lots of our self-confidence simply disappears. So we want to be comfortable being on one leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Change directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. I asked myself, how do I know? I mean, thank goodness, never been on a wheelchair. But one time when I was practicing at Sifugon, I went to do Tai Chi with Master Yang Jwing-Ming in Boston. And it was snowing. And my friend Rami, and I did some pushing hands in the snow. And at some point, both of us, with his body weight and my body weight, twisted into my ankle in a very awkward movement that we both were, and I sprained my ankle, and I was walking with a cane for several weeks. And it was snowing in New York and slippery, and it wasn't fun. But I remember in those days, when I'm all of a sudden walking with a cane, I couldn't step on this foot. How much you lose when you lose your ability to balance yourself on both feet. Back to our exercise. Back to tailbone backward. Inhale and lift your perineum and derive cerebrospinal fluid up your spinal cord to your head. Let go, soften, relax, soften your sternum, cool down, relax your entire rib cage. Nice. That actually takes us to 3 roots. In 3 roots, we take our spinal cord from top to bottom, from our crown to our perineum, and we contract it. We contract it. So when we let go, we feel it up again. We expand not just the spinal cord, but the entire body, and feel it in your skull, okay? Ready? Hand on hand. Let's compress our head into our shoulders, shoulders into the upper rib cage to the waist, waist into the hips, and let go. And sideways. Feel it rising. Right. 3 roots. We need some circular motion, and let's get straight into the cloud hands. I'd like to connect my hips to my arms. I'd like to connect my hips, my hip joints to my shoulders, through the shoulders. How? Shoulder and hip move together, shoulder and hip move together. So these two, so we get that motion. Meanwhile, the spine is spiraling. And now I want to connect my feet to my palms. And how do I do that? As soon as I push energy into the ground, into this foot, I deliver it to this hand. From that foot to this hand. Oh. Oh. You can guess correctly that when I lift the hand here, I'm doing the lifting energy via my spine by inhaling, pushing the ground, and lifting my pelvic floor. Letting go. Lifting, inhale. Drop down and let go. Feel the warmth at your palms. Feel the energy in your palms, between your thumb and your pinky. It's a different way that I ever did this. I'm practicing this motion of cloud hands for nearly 40 years or more. And this is the most different way I ever practiced it, which means now when I'm about to lift this hand up, push the ground there, lift the pelvic floor and the perineum, suck them up with an inhalation, deep inhalation. Soft and relax. How do you know that it reached your brain? How do you know? I feel it very clearly. I now realize what it is. I always felt it, but I didn't know scientifically what it is. Now that Dr. Joe Dispenza explained that these are molecules, charged molecules that are made out of protein and salt, and when they dissolve, they are charged, and when they rise and reach our head, they turn into electromagnetic fields, and I feel it above my ears, in my temples. I feel an expansion when I inhale deeply and rise, and soft and relax. My entire skull contracts when I exhale. I need to find a word for you of what Joe Dispenza, or what the brain is actually. The skull itself is made out of sutures. The sutures, S-U-T-U-R-E-S. Those sutures are those cracks that we have in our skull. And these cracks, they expand and contract these sutures. It says, inhale, sutures open, sacrum flexes back, and exhale, sutures close, and sacrum flexes forward. All right? Here's the how they are closed, if you can see, and how they open. I'm not making it up. I want you to feel it. I feel it very clearly. I want you to concentrate and feel it happening inside your skull, okay? I'm soft and relaxed. Everything closes down in my brain, in my skull, and the tailbone in, and I exhale, and I'm relaxed. Pause, ready for a deep inhalation, big suction of my pelvic floor. Okay, the word I didn't mention that was in the book, but I felt it now, is that it comes as a wave. What do you feel? You don't feel molecules. You don't feel protein dissolving into salt, and you feel a wave. This electromagnetic energy is a wave that moves in a circular pattern. So do it and feel the wave rising within you all the way to your head. All right? Let's do it here with waking up the dragon. We wake up the dragon, we're basically rotating our tailbone and our skull and our crown point in the same direction. So they work as one from left to right, spiraling, right? Spiraling. When the spine is spiraling, the cerebrospinal fluid is ready to rise. That's the waking up. This egg of a dragon here is waking up the cerebrospinal fluid, waking it up in our sacrum, and we preparing our sacrum to deep inhalation, expand, rise towards infinity, turn and let go. Let's do it 5 times till you start to feel it. Flip, inhale, rise. Okay, that gave you an idea of what to work on for the next few practices, the next few weeks. Insert this practice, this very Nagong, deep internal practice, into movements, different movements that you do, and see how you go with expand and contract and with driving cerebrospinal fluid into your brain, enlarging your magnetic field. Thank you for being with me. Let's do the final closure as we are getting ready, prepared for the soul celebration. Awaken the soul with deep gratitude. I'm grateful for coming through this knowledge and sharing it with you. I'm very grateful. I practice gratitude. I open up to gratitude. And I want to see now how these enhanced practice will strengthen the motivation to be more grateful, to be more open to loving kindness of all sorts. Motivation to feel loving kindness in my life. And the strength for compassion. feet together. Close with a namaste, shalom ose. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, lift your hands up, arms up. You are the winners. You did such a class. Well done. Well done. I salute you. See you in the next lesson.